Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Alliance to End Homelessness Ottawa. We represent 75 agencies in Ottawa in the housing and homelessness sector. In the past year, we've been encouraged by this council's focus on affordable housing and homelessness as a key priority. As part of our Starts with Home campaign leading up to last year's municipal election, 16 councillors endorsed the messages of stop the loss of affordable housing, create more, and preserve the quality. In anticipation of the city's application for the Housing Accelerator Fund, we presented our report, Starts with Home, Scaling Up Nonprofit Housing in Ottawa, to Planning Committee, with recommendations to use scale, zoning enablers, and public land to significantly increase nonprofit housing. For the past few years, I have tried to see a path for private developers to build affordable housing. I've spoken with developers wanting to tackle the housing crisis, and despite good intentions, the numbers simply do not work in this market. And even when there are private market builds with affordable rental, the standard of affordability does not apply to low and even middle income earners. For Ottawa, even households earning up to $82,000 a year can still only afford to pay $1,700 a month for housing costs, according to CMHC's definition of affordability. The average market rent for a one-bedroom in Ottawa is $2,000 a month, never mind if a household requires more than one bedroom. If we want to scale affordable housing, we need to scale nonprofit housing. Deals with developers for limited term affordable housing agreements of 10 to 15 years are ineffective at best. It's kicking a crisis down the road. The affordability standards within those agreements don't begin to meet the housing needs of our community. Public land is the city's greatest asset to scale desperately needed nonprofit housing. Lansdowne is public land, and as a result, I would urge council to think ambitiously about how we could leverage this asset in the most impactful way possible to address our housing crisis. There are two paths to achieving this. The current proposal could include a mandated nonprofit housing component similar to the Dream LeBreton model with multi-faith housing. The nonprofit units will remain affordable in perpetuity under the ownership of a nonprofit and integrated into an overall build. I suspect we're past that point for this development, but if that's not the approach, unless this type of deliberate nonprofit private partnership is integrated into the proposal, the units in Lansdowne were never going to be truly affordable in the first place. And we need to stop pretending that the private market can deliver the kind of affordability we need. Given this, using the money from the sale of the air rights and investing these in nonprofit housing is a far more efficient use of our scarce resources. However, we need to allocate far more than $3.9 million from the sale towards nonprofit. At minimum, we urge council to put 25% of the total sale towards council's own stated term priority, affordable housing, and I appreciate seeing those motions already on the table. In speaking with nonprofit providers, $3.9 million buys about 10 units of nonprofit housing. It does not enable scale. It barely scrapes the surface, and the city should be getting more out of this deal. A week ago today, the mayor and council called for an emergency shelter crisis task force. I commend the urgency with which council is responding to the crisis on their streets as we face the very real threat of people freezing to death this winter. However, we cannot continue to separate the housing and homelessness crisis from decisions like Lansdowne, where we have a choice to invest in long-term solutions using the city resources we have. Please invest wisely. Please invest in building a city where everyone can afford to live with dignity in a safe, affordable home. Thank you.